Welcome back to Overtime. L3Harris closing higher today after strong earnings that we brought you right here on Overtime yesterday. The defense contractor lifting the upper end of its profit target as global security concerns and defense spending are on the rise. Joining us now exclusively is L3Harris CEO Chris Kubasik. On set in the flesh. It's great to have you here.
Always good to be here, Morgan.
So you beat for the quarter, you raised your profit forecast, you're expanding your margins, and you're growing your sales. You're basically, this is the second quarter in a row that you're basically delivering on what you've set out and promised to do. Walk me through how you're doing that, how much of that is tied to defense demand, cost cutting, and supply chain normalization. That's a big question, I realize.
That is a great question. Well, let me start by thanking the men and women of L3Harris. None of this is possible without their hard work. Very dedicated, engaged workforce. We have factories working 2 shifts, sometimes 3 shifts to meet the commitments for our customers. We laid out a plan back in December at Investor Day, and we're just executing upon it. The operational focus is significantly improved. We're having better bid rigor and discipline, and we're seeing the results come through. It's early on, but it was a great first quarter. It's very unusual to raise guidance this early in the year, but I have confidence in the performance, confidence in the team, and there's been some tailwinds, a lot of robust demand, and again, we're one of the few companies that's going to try to grow the top line while expanding our industry-leading margins simultaneously.
So where are you seeing the most demand when you look across the portfolio, both domestically and internationally? And now that we're talking about a $95 billion supplemental that's finally been passed through Congress this week, how does that add to the situation?
Yeah, it's a huge tailwind, and it's been a great 5 weeks for the defense industry, because 5 weeks ago we didn't even have a fiscal year 2024 budget. So we have the $844 billion budget, we have the $95 billion supplement. When you look at the addressable market, over $900 billion of defense spending, which wasn't there 5 weeks ago. So a huge tailwind and a huge opportunity for L3Harris and the industry in total. Specifically, the supplemental is focused on Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. And just today, a $6 billion package was brought forward. So we see good demand international, we see demand in space, we see demand in munitions and resilient communications.
When we talk about something like Ukraine, I mean, we featured your show on this program just a couple of weeks ago, tactical radios. We talk about shorter cycle products. How quickly can you manufacture and get them out to battlefields?
In the Ukraine situation, it could be within a week. We pre-order the supplies. We just need to get the contract. It could literally be within a week. And the beauty is a lot of our products are being tested daily in theater. We're getting real-time feedback, and all of our radios are software defined. So to the extent they're jammed or there's an issue, they're easily reprogrammable in the field and ready to get back into the battle.
Supply chain, we're still seeing some challenges in some areas. I've spoken to a number of executives at defense contractors who say there's some hiccups, particularly in rocket motors still. Aerojet Rocketdyne, you acquired it last year. Production, how's it going?
It's going great. We've owned it for 9 months. We announced it on your show 16 months ago, and I'll say strategically, the demand is literally exploding. Whether it's tactical missiles, the nuclear triad, next-gen interceptor, a lot of demand for these products. Operationally, we've cut 20% of the late deliveries. We're digitizing the factories. We're investing in the supply chain. The workforce shortage is abating, so we're feeling really good about it, and you see it in our financial results. So feel much better about the acquisition today than I did 16 months ago, and I felt pretty good 16 months ago.
I mean, we know demand for defense products is just skyrocketing right now. We also know that U.S. stockpiles need to be replenished. How quickly can that production cycle ramp? And I guess how meaningful, are we spending enough to do it? Are we moving quickly enough to do it?
Yeah, I think we're moving quick enough, but it's a great question because I think we're a couple years away. You have to go back maybe a decade or so when we had the Budget Control Act. There was literally an artificial cap put on defense spending, which allowed our adversaries to catch up or maybe in some cases pass us, right? The workforce is down probably 20%, and the supply chain, interestingly enough, is down 20%. 17,000 suppliers shut their doors due to the inconsistency in the funding and, of course, the demand signal. So that's where we are today. We need to rebuild. Each and every one of these companies has been right-sizing, consolidating their footprint, closing factories, based on the demand. So, in my opinion, the whole ecosystem has to be on a wartime footing. Congress, the DOD, the industry, and the supply chain. And that would mean having a defense budget by October 1 for fiscal year 2025, which I know is a long shot. And as I say, I'm pretty sure Russia and China don't have continuing resolutions. We need to fix this.
Chris, you've been really trying to drive efficiency in data center, your ERP systems, even facilities. What's the philosophy that you're using, particularly on the technology side, to try to drive that through as quickly as possible?
No, great question. We are trying to leapfrog the technology. The reality is we were probably lagging, and in an odd way, it's a benefit because we're actually going to leapfrog. We have a lot of software as a service, cloud. We're using AI for internal efficiency. Maybe at some point it gets into our products as well. But no, we have some strategic partners we're working with. I have a new CIO, and we're moving at light speed, and we're really excited about it. And the employees love it. New tools, new processes, new systems. It's making a big difference for the company.
Earlier this week, announcing 5% reduction in workforce. Walk me through that, how that contributes to the margin picture at a time where you are looking to make more because of more demand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we took a fresh look at our processes. All these investments that I just mentioned, result in efficiencies. So it's never fun or easy to do, but it was the right thing to do for the business. With the pandemic and the focus on the supply chain and just expediting things, we never really got through that process over the last few years. So we laid out the strategy. We've focused on layers and bands, and it was the right thing to do, and we move forward.
All right, Chris Kubasik, CEO of L3Harris. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
On set, on the heels of earnings.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Stock up 3.5% today.